Bihari Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayo Radha Madhav Jayo Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Jayo Radha Madhav Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Hare Krishna. Prabhu, am I audible still? It's okay.
Yes, Prabhu.
I didn't realize it when I was singing actually. Now I realized, okay, I didn't even ask whether I'm audible or not.
No, while you're singing, actually the volume was very low actually.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Now it's okay?
Now it's okay.
Okay, fine. Okay, Hare Krishna. So we are in the new year. It's the first Sunday program for the new year. I would have loved to actually have an in-person meeting. I'm hoping this year we should be able to do sometime because from the temple side, they have given us the permission to do a in-person program in our Surbikun Center. However, I'm still thinking what all restrictions that we need to actually apply to have a program in our center. So very soon, maybe in January itself, we'll actually start the program. Is what I'm thinking. Let's see. We'll keep praying because nothing is like a in-person program. It's more the association of devotees actually makes life more sweeter. The Zoom lifestyle is actually a little tough. Let's see how it goes. So, okay, how many of you actually celebrated New Year? This is, let me actually share my screen. I made some material for session today. Okay, you able to see my screen, Gauranga Prabhu? It's okay.
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhu.
we can see it. Yes.
Okay, how many of you actually celebrated New Year? Anybody? Did we do anything separately? We just went to the temple.
Yes, Prabhu. Just went to the temple and had prasadam.
Yes. It's just another day for us. Just another New Year, another day. Okay, let's get into the details of what it is. I was thinking of sharing something. I was thinking over the days. What is New Year all about? So let's try to actually understand what is this New Year about. Why do we not actually celebrate it in a big way? The reason is this. Let's see. So this New Year is actually Jesus Christ appearance day. It's nothing to do ours with our Sampradaya Acharyas or from a Vedic calendar perspective. Uh, this is not this is not a very important day from that perspective. Our real New Year is actually the appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that comes in sometime in March. That's called Gaura Abda. That's what we celebrate. Why do we celebrate on those days? Because they are actually our real center of our life. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the center of all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So that's the reason we celebrate his appearance day as a real New Year. But from a Vedic calendar perspective, it's different. The New Year is actually celebrated by a change in planetary positions. Either the Sankranti or the 14th April is actually the Tamil New Year. They go by the calendar changes. So when that changes comes, there is actually change in the planetary positions, because of which there is some change in destiny. The Vedic system itself talks always about that we are not having any much freedom. We are always controlled by destiny. We are always controlled by superior powers, because of which we can't decide any day as a new year and still expect things to change. Nothing will change. Absolutely nothing will change just because a day you call it as a new year. It needs to be backed up by the planetary positions. If the planetary position changes, then there is a chance that actually your um, the stars which control your life, they change. Because of that, your destiny will actually change. That's the reason actually in the Vedic tradition we actually follow a different calendar altogether based on stars and the planetary positions. However, although we are completely controlled, if we follow the acharyas, then there is a lot of hope that our destiny can actually change. If that doesn't happen, if we are not actually taking shelter of our previous acharyas and their instructions, then there's nothing much hope actually. I mean, we are anyways controlled by our destiny. Whatever has to happen will anyways happen. However, if we take shelter of the previous acharyas and they take their shelter and their instructions, then imagine our destiny is that I'm going to become a dog in my next life. That may not happen, because the spiritual masters identify the individual souls as their agents, as their um, disciples. When they decide like that, then they need us to be engaged in some other seva than being like a dog in this material world. So they'll change it. So that's how it works. But if we don't actually take shelter of the previous acharyas, if we just simply take shelter of only our own intelligence, or our the intelligence telling that okay, this is how Krishna wants you to surrender, and then you decide like that, that doesn't help on the long run. We need to actually take shelter of the previous acharyas. Then such a year can be called as a new year. That such a day can be really called as a new year. Otherwise, these New Year's actually celebration don't make much sense. That's why people have lost all interest. They simply drink and then dance and things like that, right? Now, now, as such, we are all actually guided by a sampradaya. We are not actually guided by some person who thinks this is how life has to be, and I have an answer for everything, and because I know everything, so I'm actually trying to explain it to you. No, it's not like that. We are all actually guided by a sampradaya. Sampradaya means a disciplic succession, right? A bona fide sampradaya. Now, this sampradaya, what we follow is actually the Gaudiya sampradaya, Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya sampradaya. So this sampradaya stems from Krishna himself, and then his instructions are being passed on, because of which we are backed up by superlative acharyas. These spiritual masters are not mental speculators. They don't change the message just because people want to hear different messages in a different way. No, they speak the truth. Of course, they actually make the message suitable for the people to hear, but they don't compromise on the message at all. They actually speak the truth. So because they speak the truth, whatever actually would have happened in previous ages, in the Satya Yuga or any other age, we will get the same benefit because of the sampradaya. And without a sampradaya, see, whenever we actually get some information, we need to actually ask this question: is this information coming from a bona fide sampradaya? If it is coming from a bona fide sampradaya, then that information can be taken as an important message. If it's coming from some person who actually is a self-made guru, such information actually, although sweet, although practical, although very, very relevant to this generation, it doesn't make any sense, because it may actually be very sensible for us, but it is not sensible for the Supreme Lord, because it is not sensible for the Supreme Lord. It doesn't help us on the long run. So that we have to be very clear, right? Because we are all, our sampradaya is actually all the acharyas actually are self-realized. They're pure devotees of Lord Krishna, and because of that, fundamentally Sri Krishna means the absolute truth. So because of that, they don't compromise on passing on the truth. So we will get the same benefit as whatever previous acharyas actually have followed. Now, in today's world, we see that a lot of people don't follow any sampradaya. They have no clue about all these things. They are actually misguided. Why are they misguided? Fundamentally because they are influenced by the modes of passion and ignorance. When they actually are influenced or made or forcibly made to think in that direction without their own knowledge, then they take shelter of somebody who actually talks a lot of practical message, or they might even actually um, do some kind of magic to cure some people diseases or things like that, but they don't have any previous spiritual masters guiding them. um, if such a thing happens, they say that actually God directly guides me. These are all bogus. These all cannot be accepted by those who actually are really sensible. Those who follow the Bhagavata Vidhi, those who follow the line of spiritual masters, they don't accept these things. Why they don't accept? Because the Shastras don't accept it like that. Lord himself does not accept it like that. That's the reason we also don't follow it like that. We have to be very clear about it, because it might make sense for a lot of people, but doesn't actually take them anywhere more, um, anywhere to any higher destiny. It's just that as long as that person is there, such movement actually will continue. Once they actually pass away, that such moments actually just dissipate into thin air, or there may be some few people who are ignorantly trying to follow it for some time, and then it will all fall off. Whereas when Krishna is saying evam parampara praptam imam rajarishyo viduhu, this is actually coming from the sun god himself. So it's coming in a disciplic succession, what we are actually learning. So this has to be very clear. When you are trying to learn something, um, keep this in mind. Don't get influenced by um, what do you call what we practice. Don't get influenced by the general way of living and things like that. Um, including all the false hopes that the scientists actually give, that this will cure all diseases, we'll do this, we'll do that. Nothing can happen without the sanctioning of the Supreme Lord, and we have to be very clear about that. We have to have the faith that Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is actually controlling the entire creation. He knows everything, what's happening. We may not know. Sometimes we get actually disturbed, but we should be very clear that he actually knows what he's doing, and he knows that he always does everything for the welfare of the devotees on the long run. That should be very clear. Now, we need to understand a little bit about the world's nature. Why I'm talking about these things fundamentally, because every year we get a new year. one particular day we consider as a new year. And then many people actually take resolutions. Resolutions basically like I decide something I want to follow this year. What is that we want to follow is what I'm actually trying to come to, right? Um, there are many things that we can follow, but a few things which make sense for us to follow every year, little bit towards the eternal goal, right? Now, if you see, the new year is normally actually celebrated, even if it's Kristabda, which is actually the new year, so it's supposed to be celebrated thinking of the previous acharyas or Krishna. That's how it works. But unfortunately today, nobody actually celebrate like that. Most of them actually celebrate in a way which is actually very sinful. They celebrate the festival without God in the center, right? What does that really mean? They want happiness, but without God, they are trying to actually be happy. If they try to do that, they will not be happy, because it's mentioned sowing the seed of sin can never actually bring happiness. If you do a sinful activity, knowingly or unknowingly, you don't even know what a sinful activity is, but then you do it. You drink and think that you're going to get happy, but it doesn't give you any happiness. It's just an illusion that you're happy. So these kind of things is not going to actually give us any happiness. Even the devotees actually sometimes get carried away by the way Hermi people actually celebrate. I also want to celebrate in this fashion and things like that. So that's not actually the real way we should be celebrating. It's given if you actually sow a seed of neem. The neem tree is actually very bitter. No matter how long you actually wait, you'll wait till the fruit comes, flower comes. Everything is actually bitter about neem tree. If you put a neem seed, you won't get a mango fruit or any other sweet fruit plant, right? So if you put a seed which is actually going to be a kind of a bitter fruit, it will actually give you bitter fruit. So the important point here we have to understand is don't commit any sinful activity, knowingly or unknowingly. Learn to get over it, little bit at a time, right? There are many sinful activities we still do as devotees, but learn to understand what are these sinful activities, because it's mentioned. There is actually a quote in the Dharma Shastras, which actually says, "Dharmam Rakshiti." What is that? Dharmam. Uh, I'm actually forgetting that sentence. What it really means is, if you protect dharma, dharma will protect you. If you actually understand all these Vedic principles and try to follow it, the Vedic principles will actually protect you. Nobody in this world can actually affect you if you follow dharma properly, including the devatas, because even the devatas actually are governed by the Vedic principles. So if you follow the Vedic principles, even the devatas cannot actually do any harm to you. So leave alone all this material personalities who are trying to actually bring in difficulties in our life. Nobody can, even in office or any place for that matter. If you follow dharma properly, nothing actually take you away from truth. Now, one thing we need to be aware of, this is for even devotees or anybody for that matter, um, the consciousness or the mentality we approach this world with is something that we need to be very, very clear about. Hotel versus hospital, what is the difference? For example, if you take a hotel, you go in and then they'll give you a menu card. You can actually choose what you want in the menu card, right? You can go and say, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then you pay the money, and then they'll actually serve you with all what you call with a very good ambience and things like that. You can choose what you want, and then you pay for it, and then you enjoy whatever it is. I mean, that's how hotel is all about. However, look at an hospital. Hospital actually is in a very, very different dimension. You cannot actually go enter the hospital and then say, they'll come and give you a menu card. Okay, you can choose. Okay, I want an injection which is green in color. I need it this much quantity. No, you can actually go and then share all such things there, because in the hospital the doctor has already decided. I mean, this is your disease. This is what you are going to do. This is how actually you are going to get treated. And the method of treatment is already decided there. but you cannot actually dictate terms that this is what I want to do. This is I mean, this is how I'll actually take the medicine and things like that. Uh, Everyone has to go through this cycle. Now, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says that this is Dukalayama Shashvatam. So the material world is like a hospital. Excuse me. And treatment method is already decided by the Supreme Lord. Everyone has to go through the punishment. This material world is Dukalayam, right? It's already decided who is going to do with what punishment. If we don't learn why is this punishment for, we will again get treated with another punishment. Very, very bad, no? But unfortunately, this is reality. Why is this reality? Because this has been happening for time immemorial and we don't take it seriously. We really don't actually spend time to understand these things because we are carried away by our family, with our family and then your friends and all these things, our own work. We hardly spend time on all these things because Krishna is telling, if you spend on me, your time on me, I will make sure that Maya doesn't spend time on you. Maya is actually the material energy. We are actually in the material world, and material world actually keeps us busy all the time. Um, it's all under the control of Krishna. But unfortunately, we don't realize these things. These are basic concepts, but unfortunately, we don't spend time to understand these things. The material world remains like a hospital. No matter, you can actually make it as heaven, and then you can give all this bigger in name of facility and better experience. You can actually create many things, but still, it's going to be hospital. Just like Srila Prabhupada, one time there was a sammelan. A lot of yogis and all these people actually came together, and then they wanted to actually have a debate out of how to make the world heaven. This was actually the concept which actually happened in 1975. And Srila Prabhupada was actually invited to that. One group of people came to Srila Prabhupada and said, please, you also should come and then join us. We will debate it out and things like that. Prabhupada said, Prabhupada, Prabhupada's way of answering things. Srila Prabhupada just responded bluntly, saying that material world is like a stool house, a place where people pass stool, shit. And they didn't like that answer at all. But Prabhupada was very, very clear about it. This is not actually a place for any sane person because this world is just like a stool house. So when you actually are going to pass nature's call, you should just finish and get out of that place. Don't sit and then think of making the place a better place and things like that because it's not actually going to survive it. It is going to be a stool house. It's going to be dirty. But of course, these days people have made it as restroom and things like that. People go and rest there. I don't know how they can rest there in that smell, but but that's what actually they call it as. It's a place to where I go and rest and things like that. Um, but in general, this attitude is something we have to train ourselves. Without training, this doesn't actually come naturally. By nature, we get the hotel mentality that this world is created for my enjoyment. Uh, if not my enjoyment, my family's enjoyment, right? Little bit, okay, my friends also included. But I don't care about if Pakistani's days or somebody else's days. I don't care. But then at least my family, everyone should be safe. But this is actually a completely hotel enjoyment. This has to change. If we don't actually change this mentality of how I can enjoy, um, we will suffer. We will suffer immensely. That's how it actually works. This world is actually created to be like that. And unfortunately, when we learn a lot of things into this world, we learn too many things from our own style. For us to get back to the roots takes a long time. For us to get back to the original Vedic culture takes a long time. Why does it take what do you call a long time? Because when you are trained with something, for you to pick up something new, it's not easy as you become older and older. That is why the earlier we decide to get back to our roots, it's always better. um, if we are actually trying to do something which is going to make us happy, it has to be in consultation with the shastras. Without that, if we try to do it, we will actually suffer. And the suffering is actually immaterial in the sense like you won't know that you are suffering, but you think actually it's all part of enjoyment. That's how it is. The world is created like this. This is the world's true nature. That it's called Dukhalayam Ashashvatam. And the faster we get out of this place, it's actually better for us. Now, how do we change? What is actually the guidance for happiness? What does the Shastras really say? Because when you want to make a resolution in life for a goal for the year, you need to know all of us want happiness because that's what actually we are made for, right? So we are created to be happy. Anandamaya Vyasat. We are actually created to be happy, but unfortunately, we are looking for happiness in the wrong place. Asking questions about Krishna is actually very, very, very useful. The more we actually hear about Krishna, the more we understand about Krishna, that will actually take us to the right direction. Now, it's mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There's an episode when Suta Goswami, when the sages of Naimisharanya is actually asking the questions about Krishna, he thanks them. He says, these questions itself are so wonderful. The wonderful questions because you're asking questions about Krishna. It gives so much of satisfaction for the soul. Why does he say like that? Consider this example because this is good for us to understand. Why is that we have to hear more about Krishna? Now, we were actually in the spiritual world all the time, and somehow we actually fallen into the material world. But when did we fall here? We don't know. We don't remember. Imagine you actually you enter a place, you go to a place, somehow you actually go to a place. In that place, nobody understands your language. Nobody understands your language, and you don't understand their language. And you're actually asking them, I want to go to some place. And they have no clue about what you're talking. You do action, you do everything, they don't understand it. And of course, assume that there's no WhatsApp. Okay, this WhatsApp and internet changes life so much in a what do you call, in a positive or negative way, depending on how you use it. But you go to a place where absolutely nobody understands your language, and you get frustrated staying in that place. You move to a different place, and in that place, you ask the same question that say, I want to actually know where Jagannath is or where Venkateshwara is, and then someone comes and says, "Oh, Venkateshwara, I know Venkateshwara," and he takes you to a wine shop and says, "Venkateshwara wine's there," and then so people are not understanding anything. So if you actually do this for many lifetimes, you don't even know. You have forgotten your original question. You have completely forgotten your original question on what is the goal of life? Why have I actually fallen here? Absolutely no idea about all these things. Nobody even asks. Everyone is thinking about what is present and how do we actually handle these kind of things. Now, if such is the condition, imagine what is our plight. We get completely confused. That's what has really happened. Now, if somebody asks questions about how to get back to Godhead, how do I understand Krishna? How do I actually go back to Krishna? That's a great question, because if you keep asking these questions, someday you'll actually come to the truth, because somebody will know how to get there, right? Now, there's a nice pastime which really happened in ISKCON in the 1980s. So I think many of you may know this, but what really happened was there was a gentleman who was attending the temple program, Sunday feast program. In this feast program, they used to actually sing. They used to actually sing this song, Gaur Nityananda Hari Bol, like that. But they used to sing in a way that they used to actually shake their hands like Gaur Nityananda Hari Bol. So it's like basically glorifying the Lord, Gaur Nityananda, that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. There was one gentleman who was hearing all this thing and said he couldn't understand what is happening, and he was not talking to anybody. He was just hearing this thing and standing there, and he heard us. Where did Nityananda go? I don't know. I don't know. They was actually thinking like, what is happening? They are singing like this. Where did Nityananda go? And they are saying, I don't know. I don't know. So there must be something which is happening. Who is Nityananda? He started actually getting curious about knowing who Nityananda is. So this continued for a few months, and then one day the temple president called him and then said, during the Sunday feast, why don't you sit with me and we'll have lunch together? So when we're actually having the lunch, he asked the president, "You all actually are dancing and singing that. Where did Nityananda go? I don't know. I don't know. Why do you do this? who is Nityananda? Why do you say, I don't know, I don't know? Then the temple person started laughing, saying that, no, it's not like that. It's basically Gaur Nityananda Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. What it means is we are actually chanting the holy names of Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. So he was very curious to know who Nityananda Prabhu is. So because of which the Lord actually somehow created a situation that he came to the conclusion he became a devotee after that. So similarly, if you keep hearing about Krishna, or you want to actually um, at least take a resolution of this year, I'm going to read one new book completely about Krishna. So such resolutions actually are very useful because you'll get closer to the Lord, right? So this is actually simple guidance for happiness. That is, we need to follow Krishna consciousness. The more we follow Krishna consciousness in life, the better actually will become. Many a time people come and complain, my family doesn't allow, my family is angry if we follow Krishna consciousness and things like that. That's true. Now, if you don't follow Krishna consciousness, Krishna will become angry. If you follow Krishna consciousness, your family becomes angry. Now, what do I do? Somewhere you have to make a decision, and you cannot actually keep everyone happy. If you try to keep everyone happy, you are not going to actually be, you are not going to be happy. So better to actually accept Krishna, and then depending on the Lord will take care of everything else. Somewhere we need to actually take a decision. Yes, I need to actually follow Krishna consciousness in life, but under the guidance of a devotee. Because if you try to do it on your own, you may not know what exactly needs to be followed and what should not be followed in the beginning days, and because of which there may be situations wherein you'll get into a depressive mode. So you cannot keep the whole world happy. You decide who you want to keep happy, either Krishna or the whole world. Um, there may be some people who will be happy if you worship Krishna. Some people will be there who will not be happy. That's exactly the Mahabharata war. Pandavas loved Krishna, Kauravas did not like Krishna. So you know what happened, right? So the whole set of the whole world was divided into two, and then the Lord's followers actually became victorious. So this is nothing new. This keeps happening. In fact, even in Srila Prabhupada times and in the 1970s, Giriraj Swami actually mentions this. He was actually in Boston, I think Boston or New York, one place. His parents were very rich. Giriraj Maharaj's parents were very, very rich. And because he became a devotee, he was getting up at 3 a.m. in the morning, taking cold water bath, and then chanting Hare Krishna, going to the Mangalarati, and his life was totally different, um, completely abnormal from a normal lifestyle of Westerners. Because Westerners actually they sleep late, they actually have unclean relationship with other opposite sex and things like that, and then drinking and things like that. This fellow seems to be getting up early in the morning, taking cold water bath, and that too in the Western world, and then chanting Hare Krishna, going to the temple. They wanted to actually get there were some group of people called deprogrammers. So they are psychiatrists basically. They will should come and put you into stress and torture and things like that, and ask questions, and then convince you that what you're following is wrong. So this lady came, and she went and asked Giriraj Swami that, listen, did you ever have a problem in your life? um, so something like that, right? And then Maharaj was very very calm. He was actually telling her like, okay, yes, I have been having this problem from time immemorial: birth, old age, disease, and death. So what do you call, janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi, dukkha, doksha, darshanam. So these are the real problems of life. We started explaining to her, and said, okay, stop. Then she said like, did you have a problem with your parents, that's why you left your home? Then he said, yes, actually, I left my father, eternal father and mother, Radha and Krishna, and I came here, and then I'm not able to follow my spiritual master's instruction also. And he went on in a complete tangential, quoting a lot of shastras, the Tadvidi Pranipatena Pariprashana Sevya, like that. And it went on for some time. And this lady was actually completely confused, like, what is he all about? She said, okay, fine. She went out. She told her parents, your son is completely infected. I cannot change him. In fact, if I stay with him for another half an hour, I will also start chanting Hare Krishna, right? So we can see how if somebody is actually dedicated to the Lord's service, the Lord will actually protect them. We don't actually really be worried about uh, what happens externally, because eternally we are actually related to the Supreme Lord, nothing to this world, nothing to anybody in the family or anything anywhere else. So we have to be aware of this. These kind of things keep happening, and then we'll have difficulties. coming up for sure, but we should not actually take such difficulties as difficulties, but rather see them as mercy of the Lord, an opportunity uh, with the Lord. It's just like if you're playing a game with somebody. If you're playing a game with another person, and then the game, say a game of chess, so you actually move the pawns here and there, and they'll also move the pawns. So when you actually see these things, sometimes you feel that that person is trying to defeat you. But the acharyas have actually explained that when some problems are coming, see it as actually an opportunity for you to surrender to Krishna. Otherwise, how else will you get closer to the Lord? Because we know this. Actually, when you're tired, you feel sleepy. When you're hungry, the stomach growls. You need to eat something. For every emotion, you actually have a stimulus in the body, but there's no stimulus to remember God. So sometimes the Lord actually creates situations. Um, Lord creates situations so that if you take it in the right perspective, we can get closer to the Lord. We can understand one extra quality of the Lord, how he actually um, works with his devotees. How does he show affection with his devotees and things like that. So we can understand those things. If you don't have any problems in life, then it won't happen. Again, it's a friendly match. It's not that Krishna is going to actually kill you or anything like that. It's just going to become, we are going to become more closer to the Lord. So that we need to be clear about, right? Now, understanding Krishna consciousness in the olden days was very, very tough. It was not at all easy. It was quite a bit of um, complicated situation. In fact, there's a nice story from the Sri Sampradaya. In Ramanacharya's times, there was a devotee by name Dashrati. This Dashrati is actually a sannyasi disciple of Ramanacharya, very powerful, very elevated devotee. He wanted to actually understand the meaning of the ultimate instruction of Krishna, that is Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Um, when he actually asked this question to Sripad Ramanacharya, Ramanacharya said, "You will not understand it right now. You need to be more mature." Um, he said, "So what should I do?" He said, "Maybe my god brother Goshti Purna might actually help you. Go there to his place." So he went there, and when he went there, he told, "I'm coming from Ramacharya's side." He thought, okay, it must be some servant and things like that, and he engaged him in some seva for 6 months, and without actually questioning, without actually becoming proud or anything, he was actually doing every seva that Goshti Purna engaged him. So after 6 months, he asked him, "Why did you come here?" He said, "I want to know the meaning of Sarvadharman Parityaja Mekam Sharanam Vraja." And Goshti Purna told him, "No, that's a very high concept. You go back to Ramanacharya, only he will know that." So Ramanacharya, so he came back. So when Ramanacharya saw that he's come back, um, did you get an answer? He asked. He said, "No, I didn't get an answer. I wanted to know the answer." Interestingly speaking, at that point in time, Ramanacharya's sister Atula actually came. She was actually having a concern. So she told Ramanacharya that I have this difficulty because in my in-laws place, I have to actually walk 6 to 7 kilometers, take 2 pots of empty pots, bring water from river, bring home, clean the place, cook for everyone, and then take care of everyone there. It's becoming very difficult for me to handle. So when I actually asked my mother-in-law, she told me, "You want some help? Go and get it from your parents' house. We cannot actually provide you these things." So I don't know what to do. So Ramacharya said, "Oh, that's all you want? Okay, take this Dashriti and go." Dashriti is sannyasi. And Ramacharya said, "Just go and then help them there." I said, "Okay, I will go there." So when he went there, so they were actually engaging him in all sorts of menial work, and he was actually serving everything nicely. And when he was actually serving like that, they became very happy, all of them. They got a very good servant like this and no cost for them. um, they were very happy. And then one and he used to actually spend time like that, and then in the evenings he used to actually go to the temple and then hear some katha which was going on. So one point in time, there was a impersonal speaker, a philosopher who had actually come there, and then he was actually talking about the Vedanta Sutra. And in one point, he actually mentioned about impersonalism is the supreme. The impersonal aspect of God is actually superior than the personal aspect of God. And Dashrati could not take it because he was a Sri Vaishnava, and Sri Vaishnavas actually are personal worshippers of the Supreme Lord Narayana. So he objected, saying that what you're explaining is wrong. So this scholar looked at him and said, what a cook kind of fellow is actually asking me something like this. Then all of them said, please sit, because he is a scholar and you're just ordinary cook. He said, yes, I understand I'm a cook, but then this point I cannot accept it. What he's explaining is wrong. So he went ahead and explained it logically and with the Shastric evidence how the Supreme Lord is a person, and the impersonal aspect is actually inferior to the Supreme Lord. So this scholar was amazed. He said, you are not a cook then. You must be somebody else. Who are you? So then the cook actually revealed that my name is Dashreti. I'm a disciple, humble disciple of Ramanujacharya. And all the people were shocked to hear that, because they had heard that Dashreti is a sannyasi and disciple, a great scholarly disciple of Ramanujacharya. They had never seen him. So they were all shocked. What is happening? And we are, especially Atulai's family, were very shocked, actually saying that such a great personality, a Parama Bhagavata, actually I'm asking them to do menial service at home. They got scared and they came to him and said, why did you come here and do all these things? He said, like, Ramanujacharya asked me to go there. But why? I asked him a question like, I want to understand Sarvadharma Parityaja. That's the reason. He said, you are not yet qualified to hear this. So they said, okay, we don't understand what is going on between you and your spiritual master, but we don't want to take you any service. So we'll come and then give you all the credentials what is required. So they all went to Ramanujacharya. They explained he's extremely humble, he's very dedicated, he's very qualified. Whatever you want to do with him. Please don't engage us for these things, because we are unqualified and we are committing so much of offenses in taking service from a Parama Bhagavata like this. Then Ramacharya actually said, okay, that's fine. Then he asked the Dashrathi, tell me what is your question? He said, I had asked for Sarvadharma Parityaja Mamekam Shanam Raja. So Ramacharya actually tells him, did you get an answer? He said, yes, I did get an answer about this. Whatever condition Krishna puts me in, I should simply accept it without revolting and be engaged in his service. And this is actually the goal of that particular verse. And Rama said, right now you are understood the basics. Then he actually explains him to the deeper meaning of that particular verse. So it is so complicated, the Vedic scriptures are. It's not easy. But Srila Prabhupada has given us such a simple way of understanding these things. We are very, very fortunate to actually have this information coming to us in the parampara. If you don't take it, I don't think there can be much better foolish people than that, right? So just giving it simple. I mean, we can just read, take association of devotees, pick up little every day, every year. We can actually take some resolution to read something more, practice a little more. One step you can take every year, so that way we can make a lot of progress, right? And when you are making this progress, you will cultivate bhakti between you and Bhagavan. When we cultivate this, we should also share it with others. um, Looking at this bhakti, there is actually a very nice instruction that one of our previous acharyas, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, talks about, um, which is very relevant for all of us, because many a times we always think, whenever God wants me to do something, I will do. So this is an actually answer to that, right? How does it really work? How do we get bhakti, right? Um, is it because of the Supreme Lord's mercy? How do we get this bhakti into our heart? Is whenever Krishna decides we get bhakti, many of us say, yes, Krishna is ultimate cause, yes. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, no, it is not because of Krishna we get bhakti. Because if Krishna is actually the source or giver of bhakti, then why does the whole world not becoming devotees of the Lord? Why only some people actually pick up bhakti like that, right? So it's not true, he says. Then what is actually the real reason then? Then he only actually, it's called monologue. He actually discusses and then raises a question, he only answers that. He actually asked this question. That means in reading books, associating with people, getting what do you call, getting up early in the morning, doing Vedic sacrifices, austerities, all these things, the cause of bhakti. He says, no, even that is not true. He says, because if that was the case, then there are many scholars. There are Trivedis, Chaturvedis, very qualified Vedic scripture people are there. Why they are not becoming devotees of the Lord, devotees of Krishna? They also are not possible. Um, Krishna is not possible. He is actually, because Moham Sarva Bhuteshu Name dveshyo stina priyaha. He says, I'm not actually partial to anybody. He is very neutral to everyone. Krishna gives mercy to everyone. Some people take it, some people don't take it. So that is also not there. This is also not there. Then actually the next comes, he says, then it's because of the pure devotees of the Lord, the acharyas, like Srila Prabhupada or any of the previous acharyas, their blessing, somebody becomes a devotee or they get bhakti. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, no, even that is not true, he says. So this is, wow. Then if their mercy also is not the right way, because they are pure devotees of the Lord and they don't actually distinguish between who is a demoniac personality, who is a devotee, nothing, who is innocent, they don't. They see everyone as equal. Samoham sarva bhuteshu. Um, Not only that, Samoham sarva bhuteshu is actually the Lord who sees like that. The devotees don't see like that. Not the devotee, the pure devotee of the Lord, Uttamadhikari, sees everyone same. Shuni Jeva Shupakecha, right? That whole shloka is there, wherein he actually sees an elephant, a dog eater, all of them in the same way. He doesn't actually distinguish that they are low class and this is high class. Then they are also not the reason. Then who is the reason? The next category it takes is actually the Madhyamadhikari. Madhyamadhikari is actually a preacher devotee who is actually someone who actually gives the instructions of Krishna to others. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, yes, the Madhyamadhikari is the one who is actually sharing his bhakti with others. So bhakti actually is the cause of bhakti. But the Madhyamadhikari relates to the world in four categories. He sees the deities of the Lord, and then he actually has an affectionate dealing with the Supreme Lord. He generates or creates an affectionate dealing. He sees the devotees of the Lord, and he has a friendly relation with the devotees. He sees innocent people, and when he sees innocent people, he shares his bhakti with them. He gives them instructions, engages them in some seva of Krishna, makes them chant Hare Krishna. That's how actually the bhakti of whatever they have is shared with the other person. Now, when he sees demoniac people, very atheistic people around, he becomes ignorant or indifferent to them. He'll not actually interact with them. He just leaves them. Whether they are not in the creation doesn't matter for me. So that kind of mentality. Um, but the Madhyamadhikari is the one who can actually share it with others. So we all have to learn the process of bhakti, the process of Krishna consciousness, and share it with others. If we don't share it with others, there is no way actually we can progress beyond a particular limit. We cannot say that I don't know, I am not qualified. You are qualified for whatever you know. That much only share. Don't go and then share something that you don't even know, first of all. But if you don't do that, then there's no way actually you can make progress. It's like a tank of water, and if the water is actually not empty, you can't pour more water beyond what is there already there, right? You need to share it across. So that's something that we need to be aware of, that bhakti costs bhakti, and that bhakti is there within our heart. Whatever is there, we can share it with others. Okay, we have 10 more minutes. um, so what do we do? What do we take as resolution? So we need to understand that. Can we actually what is that one thing you can take it as a resolution? There are many things that you can take as resolution, but whatever you actually are taking as resolution, take one step towards the Lord. Whatever you have in your possession, use that in the Lord's service. Whatever you can, if you have money, use that in the Lord's service. Whatever you can use, right? If you have good talent in singing, make some kind of learn the bhajans and then share it with others, and somewhere actually bring others also in Krishna consciousness. If you know cooking, you can cook for the Lord, feed the Vaishnavas. Any service that you have, of course, if you talk to some devotees, especially senior Vaishnavas, they can guide you better how you can actually be engaged. If you are good in marketing, use that marketing skills in bringing more devotees to Krishna, something like that. So one step at a time you take, next step at least you take. It's not that if somebody is not chanting, expecting them to chant 16 rounds is easy. But if you're chanting 10 rounds, go to 12 rounds or 16 rounds or 14 rounds, whatever it is you can. But take one step. If you're not read anything, at least start reading Prabhupada books. If you have read, okay, all these things, okay, read the next canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Something you should actually keep as a goal. If you don't keep any goal at all, then just one more year will pass in our life, and then we wouldn't have actually accomplished anything, right? So it's important that we keep something. If you have actually brought, at least I'll talk to at least 5 new people a month. and I'll tell them about Krishna. 5 new people, I'll talk to them. Whether they become devotees or not, that's not in your hands. You can only talk about Krishna to them. Whether they become devotees or not, how, that's not in your hands. It's there in the hands of the Lord. You do what you can and leave the rest to the Lord. So that we have to be very, very clear. We should try whatever we can. By doing that, we will get closer to Krishna for sure. In fact, in the 1972, I think 1972 or 1973, Prabhupada was in this Pennsylvania farm, which is called the Penn State. In this place, Ravindra Swarupa Prabhu was actually a professor. He was a devotee. So he brought a professor from Penn State, and he was actually a professor of Sanskrit and Hinduism. So Prabhupada actually wanted to get Prabhupada to meet him, because if he is convinced, then he will invite Prabhupada to the university, and then in the university he can actually talk to the college boys. Prabhupada said, okay, fine. So when he came, so this person was a little older person. So he came, and then Prabhupada was sitting in a relaxed way. And Prabhupada actually saw him and said, Ravindra Swarup introduced him as the professor of Sanskrit and Hinduism in this university. Prabhupada actually looked at him and said, oh, Acha, you are actually a professor of Hinduism, okay? Can you define what is Hinduism? And this devotee, this professor actually said, oh, Hinduism is a very, very complicated topic. So Prabhupada said, you don't know what is Hinduism is? He said, no, it's a little complicated. It can't be actually put it in a simple fashion. So he looked at around at what some of his disciples said, what do you call a person who actually teaches something that he doesn't know? and then the devotee said, cheat, Prabhupada. So he said, so you are a cheater, not a teacher. And he became very angry. So that you're calling me, I've been teaching for the last 25 years, you're calling me a cheater? He said, you don't know what is Hinduism. So it became a very, what you call, rough conversation between both of them. And the devotees were actually very scared. And this gentleman actually told Prabhupada, okay, you tell me what is surrender to Krishna really means. Prabhupada said, why should I tell you? You are not my disciple. So then he said, okay, I'll become your disciple. Now you tell me. So Prabhupada said, first disciple means first shave your head and join us. Then I will actually tell you all these things. So it went on so much that they both were not giving up, and then the devotees decided if it goes on, he will start committing so many offenses against Prabhupada. So they took him out, saying, enough, go, because you are not actually being submissive to my spiritual master, our spiritual master. Later on in the next day morning walk, Ravindra Swarup Prabhu went and apologized to Prabhupada, saying that Prabhupada, I'm very sorry that I brought someone. My idea was to actually get you an entrance into the university, but unfortunately that didn't work out. I'm feeling bad. Prabhupada said, why are you feeling bad? One thing is for sure, we actually chastised him sufficiently. We gave him good chastisement that he will not actually go, and then he will start thinking in detail, does he really know Hinduism or not, right? Then Prabhupada actually told the whole world is actually having a lot of hodgepodge people. Nobody knows what is really truth. They actually talk anything and everything and then pass away as great speakers. But unfortunately, nobody is actually surrendering to the Supreme Lord. They just remain like that. They know, they talk about this philosophy, they talk about that philosophy, they talk anything and everything. But end of the day, there is absolutely no devotion towards the Supreme Person of God, right? So we, whatever we know, we should actually help others to become devotees, because we know the truth. By Prabhupada's grace, we actually have Prabhupada's books available with us, which actually are the absolute truth. So when you actually share it with others, either as a gift you can give, or you can actually sell it to somebody, whatever it is. So by doing these things, Krishna becomes very happy, and that soul becomes eternally grateful to you when they actually really understand that you are the one who actually helped them, right? So we should actually take that and try whatever we can, and in any ways we can really do, either book distribution or donation or whatever it is. Some way we need to be engaged in Krishna service. Take one step at a time. That I want to do this year for sure. Okay, and don't keep very unrealistic expectation that I'll get up at 2 a.m. in the morning and chant 16 rounds and then go to work and things like that. because 80% the statistics says that 80% of whatever resolutions people take within a few weeks actually it goes on down the drain. They don't succeed on that. So if you're chanting 5 rounds, chant 6 rounds. If you're chanting 10 rounds, chant 12 rounds. If you read one book, take another book and read it. Something like that, which is realistic. Don't actually keep some unrealistic expectation, and don't be without any expectation. Also, don't keep something that you can really follow. If you don't do that, Hare Krishna, I don't know what to say, right? Okay, so we do that, and then one thing I want to actually mention that whatever we are trying to follow in Krishna consciousness is actually started by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, right? Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya. He's Krishna himself with the name Krishna Chaitanya. He is actually given this Maha Mantra. He's given this Krishna consciousness process for us. And whenever the Lord appears, when the Supreme Lord appears in his form of doing a Leela, like Lord Ram, Lord Krishna, or Varahadev, or Narsinghadev, all these personalities will always be victorious. There's no, we actually have indication about various demigods actually losing a battle, but there's absolutely no indication of the Supreme Lord actually losing something. He may do it as a pastime sometime, but then he doesn't lose. So Lord Chaitanya himself actually is doing this Leela of delivering all the conditioned souls back to Godhead. So this is his Leela. So he is going to be victorious for sure. The only thing is we have to be part of his plan. We have to be part of his movement. So if we take it seriously and try to follow Krishna consciousness a little more seriously than what we have followed in our previous year, then we make that much progress towards the Lord, right? That's what I want to actually really say. But the Lord is going to be victorious. Are you part of the plan of the Lord? Is the question. It's not with the Lord, because the Lord will not force us. He will not force us. If we don't chant 16 rounds today, He's not going to actually take a gun and then shoot us. No, He will not do that. If you're actually chanting 16 rounds, you're taking Prabhupada's Ashaya, then it's good for us to actually aspire from a spiritual master. Don't postpone it too much. We don't know when all Prabhupada disciples will leave the planet. We don't know what's going to happen. So somewhere we need to actually take a call and make progress, right? Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtan. This is part of the 6 Ashtakam prayers. So if we actually take Krishna consciousness seriously, where in the past, then I think success is guaranteed. It's just that matter of time. Okay. Okay, I think almost on time, 6 o'clock over. So I was just looking at it's good. So any questions? Otherwise, we'll actually have some quiz time with Sanatan Prabhu. Sanatan Prabhu, are you there?
Yes, Prabhu, he is there.
Okay, super. So we'll spend some time in question answers, and then you can actually ask us questions or do a quiz for all of us. It would have been nice if we are all in person, but unfortunately, we'll have to see how things changes. So what? Yeah, yes. Any questions? Somebody ask question. If you've not been to the Yatra this year, you should actually plan to go for a Yatra. Hopefully, things will change over the year. No questions? As usual.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Savana Prabhu.
Yeah. Actually, I have not allowed people to unmute themselves. So,
oh, sorry.
okay.
Then you can allow them to unmute themselves, or they can actually. I don't think chat is required. They can just unmute and ask whatever they have.
Yeah. Thanks, Prabhu, first of all, for the wonderful lecture on the aspect of what is the real new year and what kind of resolutions we should have. Thanks for those. Wonderful class. Yes, devotees, anybody who wanted to ask any questions, you can actually unmute yourself and you can ask.
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm Sharvil.
Yes, Sharvil, how are you?
I'm fine, Prabhuji. I like the lecture a lot.
Okay, thank you so much. So for all of you who don't know who Sharvil is actually in the 4th grade. He and Sudarshan, they both are classmates or same batch. They conduct programs for their the school children. If they can actually do so much, I think we need to question ourselves: are we really devotees? Can we actually do something more? So, yeah. Thanks for joining, Sharvil.
can remember very easily. Lucky మన చపాతి పిండి తెచ్చేస్తావా అక్కడ వచ్చేసింది.
Question from Sudhamai Mataji. Can you take us on yatra? Yes, we can. I am not the person who take on yatra. We'll actually definitely plan to go on yatra. Keep praying. Hopefully, as a group, we can all go somewhere. Go and then see the Lord and then spend some time together. Hear Krishna Katha. That way, the more we actually get attached to that kind of lifestyle, the more Maya Devi will actually not attract us. That's how it works actually. Because we are very attracted to Maya Devi so much. We are not able to, unknowingly, we are getting attracted to her, unfortunately, in the illusory world. But this illusory world is not going to take us anywhere. It just keeps us bound in this world. We'll definitely actually go and see, because if you see my background, it is actually Govardhan. It's a nice place. It's actually the hill that Lord Krishna actually lifted. Going and seeing that place, it's so wonderful actually. Going and doing a parikram, go around the place, and then seeing the different places where the pastimes of the Lord was done. These are amazing things actually. We should actually aspire to see the Lord's places wherever he performed different pastimes. Thanks for the question, Mataji. Yes, we will do it. We will actually pray that things become more easy for us to travel. Yeah. Okay. Your question from Gauranga Prabhuji is, are you planning to start some training session for new devotees to take up Bhakti Viksha style of preaching? Yes, whoever is actually trying to do preaching, preaching is, there are various types of preaching, in the sense like we give the message of the Lord, and the Bhakti Viksha style of preaching is very important, because Bhakti Viksha style of preaching, we all take responsibility towards our people, because that's very, very important. If you don't actually take care of people, then understand, all of us actually are coming to Krishna consciousness for various reasons. I don't think actually I ever came to hear to Krishna consciousness because of hearing about what Krishna all did in home. If he wants to do whatever he wants to do, let him do. That was my mentality when I came to Krishna consciousness. Most of us actually have that. We want a good life, number one. Number two, I have some problems in my lifestyle, in my life. I want to actually find solutions for that. If we don't actually share those solutions, we don't get to know about the solutions, then it's very difficult for us to actually say in Krishna consciousness. We will do, Prabhu. Thanks for actually bringing it up. I'll talk to Pransiki Mataji also and Venture Prabhu. We'll try to actually do some sessions on people who are actually doing Bhakti Viksha. We'll discuss and then come up with a plan. So write down something in your book or somewhere, someplace where, either in your mobile. I normally write it in my mobile. I just put it on. These are things I want to finish this year. Any service that you're doing, for example, I want to actually distribute 100 books this year. I want to collect some funds for the temple. I want to see temple coming up, something like that. You actually write down in your life or in your diary, anywhere. Then see, and actually accomplished it as you go along. So if you don't put anything in like that, it's very difficult for the mind to be engaged. Like you want to read Chaitanya Charitamrita, just put it as a thing. I want to read Chaitanya Charitamrita this year, at least 2 books. Just write it down. Then you will be able to actually accomplish it. And whenever you actually are feeling bored, open that book and see, oh, this may so many services I've written down. I'm not going to do all these things. Then you actually go and then pick up something and start doing it. If you don't have anything at all, then naturally you're actually spending some time in Maya, either watching something or playing something, or just taking care of family and cooking something new, something like that. It's not wrong. I'm not saying it's all wrong. It's not the topmost activity you can ever do. The topmost activity you really can do is be engaged directly in Krishna service or in service of your devotees. Okay. Who wants to gather together for direct devotees association? Yeah, so this we will start. I'll have to talk to Ranchor Prabhu. I hadn't actually had a discussion with him yet, and also with Pradeep Prabhu, and then see how do we actually get started in the center, because there are some restrictions we have to follow. I'm still a little scared for everyone because we have a lot of older people in our families, many of us. So we will do, Prabhu, and definitely Gauranga Prabhu, we'll actually try to do this month. If not next week, week after that, we need to do it as quickly as possible. We'll try to do it. I need to write it down also. Okay. Okay, I think there are not much questions which are coming up. Prabhu, Sanatan Prabhu, all over to you. There's one more question which came from Sudha Mataji. Now, people from different cities attend Bhakti Viksha. How do we engage them in service to keep them connected? What kind of service? Okay, this is a good question, because many people are attending many sessions, and it's very difficult to actually keep track of everyone. What the temple and some of the senior devotees have been planning is, we will train them to some extent, and after that actually connect them with the local temple. We will not cultivate somebody from, say, Jamshedpur or some other. We have a lot of devotees in those areas. We will try to actually cultivate them to some extent and then connect them there. When the temple opens in that area, we will connect them. Otherwise, it's very difficult to actually keep track of everyone across and then be engaged in seva. At this point in time, the only thing that I can really do remotely is read Prabhupada books or help you in some seva. If you're actually doing some programs, then you ask some help required to follow up or something like that, you can do that. Otherwise, physically, they can't do much. Neither are we able to do much, right? So for now, actually keep cultivating, keep in touch with them. Once they come to a particular level, then they'll be able to actually find someone near near temple, and then take a decision. Yeah. Okay. Sanatan Prabhu, over to you.
Hare Krishna, can anyone confirm if they are able to unmute?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Like you said, it's a good start for the new year, and I see a lot of devotees here. That's very nice. Let me know if my voice is audible and clear.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. So we have tried playing different games, right, over the last year. So I have a small game, a quiz kind of a game. So it's designed by Sudarshan and me here. That's why he's on video as well. And this one is something that I've heard in one of the J3+ classes, that my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Jai Patak Swami Guru Maharaj, he actually used to like or play this game. Does anyone want to guess what the game is?
I think Vedic quiz.
Okay, more specifically, what kind of a quiz?
Mahabharata, Ramayana, like that.
Okay, no, Sharvil, I'm looking for a particular type of game this is.
You should give them choices, Sanatan. You're opening up the whole world and asking them a question.
So people specifically who have attended J3+ sessions in the last 3 weeks or 5 weeks, they should be able to definitely get that. And Kripamoye Prabhu, yourself, Sudame, they are not allowed to actually raise your hand and answer. Okay, let me do this. I will share my screen. Let me know when you can see. Have you heard of this game called The Hangman?
Yes, I know the game. Hangman. I have played sometimes.
So Matajis and Prabhujis request you to bring your kids around. Okay, they will probably enjoy this game a lot better while you tell the answer.
Only kids, Prabhu.
Sorry?
Only kids, Prabhu. Elders cannot play.
Elders will have to answer, kids will love to play this game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
The name of the game is Hang Man. Okay, if you are a man, you'll get hung.
Oh, he's married with 2 kids. No comments there.
It's only for the kids, basically.
Okay. So here is this game is very simple. We have the English alphabets here, and there is a question which is in the yellow block. where you will have to guess this particular thing. So it can be a personality, it could be a place, it could be an animal, it could be anything. Okay. As we go along, I will give you clues if needed. And this is the hangman. And you have in the first 6 wrong guesses, this man is hung. Okay. So he will turn red. That means the game, that particular option is over. Like this, we have about 10, 12 questions. So as we go along, we'll see how many we can solve. Okay. And we will, after 6 guesses, also will continue if devotees are still interested with the same answer. 1 or 2 alphabets are left over. Okay. This is just a sample here. Okay. It's open to everyone. You can start guessing the alphabet. Then we can see if we need to split it by team. Someone can start. Sharvil, what
K.
you want to pick?
K.
K. Okay. We have a K. Okay, Sharvil, your K is wrong. So your hangman is scattered. Anyone else?
Are we allowed?
Yes, Prabhu. Everyone is allowed.
I will take a vowel. I will take a A.
Okay. Do we have an A? Okay, we do. Okay. This is very easy. Next alphabet. Start guessing.
Give us some hints, Prabhu.
B.
You're talking about P? Someone said P?
B.
So Prabhuji, it is B, Prabhuji. B.